Hello everyone. In this video we're going to talk about how to create a schedule for Pro Strategy Football 2021. Now you'll see on the right the window that has a file explorer open, and you'll note that I currently am in my Documents PSF 2021 Schedules folder, and you'll see here a whole bunch of schedules that have been created. You'll also see a folder called Default. I'm double clicking on that. These are schedules, that came with Pro Strategy Football 2021. There's a whole bunch of generic schedules. But let's say you wanted to create your own. What you could do is take an existing schedule, let's say from Default. And let's say I know that I have, well, you know what? I'm going to show you the 1980 league that I'm working on, which was a 28-team league. And it was 16 weeks. So say this, for example. I'm going to open this. Okay, it's open over to the left, but I'm going to save it right now, and you must save as a CSV, comma, delimited. I'm going to call it the 1980 NFL schedule. And I have it already in there. It's something that's in the works. Which is perfectly fine. But I'm going to default to the schedules folder. The Pro Strategy Football 2021 schedules folder. I'm not going to the default that's inside the schedules folder. That default folder are schedules that come with the game. The programmer created it so that by the generic schedules folder, it was for homemade schedules like I'm about to make right now, so there wouldn't be any confusion. If you end up saving in the schedules default folder, it's not a disaster. It's just a way that the programmer wanted to separate everything. So I'm going to save this, and it's going to say, I get this in Excel, I'll just say yes. Now, I'm going to shrink down this window. I'll make this full. This is the way the schedule file looks. This is a CSV file. I'm going to go to the A column. I'm going to stretch it out. You will see matchups and a whole bunch that have the number 1, 2, I'm scrolling down, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so on and so on. Those are games in the respective week. So anything that says matchup 1 is week 1. It's a game in week 1. Now, if you're doing bye weeks, you don't have to denote bye weeks. You just have a certain amount of games per week. So you can have 20 games week 1 and 5 games in week 2. It doesn't matter the game, but you do need to specify whatever matchup you're creating the week it's in. So what we have here, you'll see the excuse me. You'll see the first entry is home and the second is visitor, and they're denoted with numbers. Well, what do these numbers mean? Well, that's what I'm going to show you right now. Here's the 1980 season that I'm working on right now. It's incomplete, but I'm working on it. Now, you'll note to the right of each franchise there is what's called a team ID, and there's a number for the team. This number, when it comes to the game, is how the game knows what team to utilize. So for this example, Dallas is going to be team ID number 1. The New York from the NFC's number 2, Philadelphia 3, St. Louis 4, Washington 5, and so on and so on and so on. Now, don't assume by default that this team ID number is always in numerical order. It actually has to do with when you either created or imported the team into the file. So Dallas may be number 1, but New York could be number 5 because they were the 15 you put in. So what you'll want to do is associate the team with the ID. Now that you understand this, in this scenario, this is just what on the left with the schedule file. Team 11 against Team 12. This is just what was called up from the prior file. So in reality, what they're saying is Atlanta, team number 11, will host the Rams, team number 12. That's this week's matchup, 11 versus 12. Atlanta will host LA. Okay, now what you want to do is this is how you'll denote the matchup by the team ID numbers. And I'm scrolling, and there are a lot of them. And this is a 16-week schedule with no bye weeks, and every team plays in each given week. So now, you can sit here and manually do it, but what if you wanted to do something that is random, quicker, and does not involve you pulling your hair out? And you know for a fact that everybody's going to have 16 games, and it's going to be more balanced. Well, that's what I'm about to pull up here. There is a web page called League Lobster. You need to create an account. But it doesn't cost anything, not the way I'm going to show you. There's no fee. League Lobster will allow you to create pretty quickly a league schedule that can contain up to 50 teams. If you want more than 50 teams, you will need to pay a small fee. But if it's under 50 teams, it's free if you do it the method I'm about to show you. So let's say I'm just making up a schedule, and it doesn't matter, and I personally don't care in reference to what I'm about to make. Division matchups, conference matchups. I just want teams to play teams, and everybody plays 16 games. Now, I know some people don't want it that way, but I'm going to make a separate league file, and I will show you a way to import off of another web page an actual schedule. That'll be in a different video. This is for the basics. So if I just want to create matchups between all 28 teams in this league, and everybody plays 16 weeks, and to me it doesn't matter conference divisions, anything, like, I just want everybody to play. All right, well, what you can do is you're going to go to Schedule a League, and we'll hit go. Now I'm going to say there are 28 teams in the league, and I want them to play 16 games in 16 weeks. Click Next, and it's going to generate a schedule that is ironically with numbers, and it will even denote the weeks. Now, there is a fee if you want to download this into a file. In this case, I'm not. This is going to be a little more tedious, but you will have a schedule created that is going to give you 16 games with all 28 teams over a 16-week period. So here's the inconvenience. Shrink this back. All right. I'm going to have to manually put everything in. So in this case, it'll be 21 versus 6. Oops. 4 at 11. Sorry. 22 at 1. 16 at 23, and so on and so on and so on. Now you'll note I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 matchups for week 1, which is 28 teams. And here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I should just be able to go right down the whole way here without even thinking about it, unless I make a mistake, and I will have the schedule. So if I wanted it, let's say I was done, then what I would do is I would go to Save As, and you want to make sure that you are saving as a CSV, comma, delimited. Call it what you want, and then save. Might give you a prompt. I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. May contain features that are not compatible, but it is. Okay, and that's copied over. So if I were to go, let me exit out of this in the game, go to single season, I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to go 1980. This is an incomplete league I'm working on, so I'm going to go to load a custom schedule. And when it says default, that comes off, that's from the game. It's coming off the default folder, but it also comes from the generic folder of schedules. So somewhere in here, and there it is, 1980 schedule. Bam. Okay. Let's just say start the season. I will go to week 1, and there are my matchups. Now, I will note that it would be best after you create the league, if you're going to use this technique, or if you just want to manually enter in everything yourself, to sim the league through the regular season. And this way you can determine whether or not you input the data correctly. If it freezes at a week, let's say it freezes at week 9, and I've seen things like that happen, it will freeze at a week. What that means is there's something wrong with week 9. You're going to have to go back into your scheduler and see whether there's a conflict. What normally happens is you've entered in a team twice in that week. Maybe you made a typo, or maybe you overlooked something. If it plays the same team twice, it'll freak out and lock it up. It'll lock the software up. Now, even if you sim it and the games, I'll go ahead and sim it, just regular season. Now, even if you sim it, again, this is 1980, but these teams aren't created, so don't anyone who's a fan of the 1980 season say, well, that team wasn't that good or bad. This is the information's not entered in yet. So what you want to do is you can also sit here and count. Okay, that's 16 games, 16, 16, 9, 7, 7, 9, 3, 13, 2, 14, etc., etc. And then I would also count home and away, because I've run into, well, there's one more home game and one less away game, and I made a mistake, and I inverted, so I'd have to invert back. So sometimes it might come down to the process of elimination if you're into being very specific about how you want to execute your schedule, and if you're determined to have a certain amount of home and away and conference and division. But the technique I just showed you with the webpage League Lobster, it's not going to do conference division or anything like that. It's just going to spit you out a schedule, but it's a quick way to do it. It's a way that is going to have everybody play the number of games you want. Now, I'm going to make a second video soon, and in this video I'm actually going to create the 1980 season, and I'm going to import the season. There's some work involved, but I'm going to import the season into the game from a schedule that is on the web. So if you're building your own actual season, whether it be professional football, football from another country, college, high school, and whatever. Well, I don't know about high school, but with the web page I'm about to show you. But I'm going to show you a technique that will allow you to create your own actual schedule for an actual season in another video. So if you have any questions about what I've just explained here, please drop a note in the comments, and I will do my best to answer. Thanks for watching.